What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I want to talk about Kyle Pitts' Pro Day. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when your boy has done Atlanta Falcons content. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys for continuing to tune into the channel, continuing to share out my content. If you would like to follow your boy on Twitter, you can follow me at JewTalkSports. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So today, Kyle Pitts, draft prospect out of the University of Florida, did have his pro day, and our head coach, first-year head coach Arthur Smith, was in attendance. I do believe that Kyle Pitts is one of the top players on our Atlanta Falcons draft board, and with the signings that we've seen in free agency so far, with us bringing in a lot of these guys on one-year deals to address needs, I really think that the Falcons may be thinking about taking Kyle Pitts with this the number 4 pick. I wouldn't be opposed to taking Kyle Pitts after hearing how his measurables and things of that nature at his pro day. He ran a 4.4 40. He goes 6'6", 245 pounds. Personally, he runs routes like he's a wide receiver, and I really think that the Falcons should consider taking him. I do think that he could possibly be, other than the quarterbacks, even including the quarterbacks, he could possibly be the best player in this draft. Kyle Pitts is one of those guys where I think that he's going to come in day one and be a game changer because of his size. He puts me in the mind of a Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, even DK Metcalf for the Seattle Seahawks, who came in his rookie season and was just a man amongst boys because of his size and his athleticism. I think it's the same thing with a guy like Kyle Pitts. I wouldn't be opposed to taking him at 4, even though I think the Falcons should trade back. If you want to bring in, an unstoppable weapon or a nuclear weapon, we think that the Atlanta Falcons are explosive now. If they bring in a guy like Kyle Pitts, it's almost like you have 2 Julio Jones on the field. Another thing that I think that a lot of Falcons fans are not taking into account, and I kind of sat back and thought about this, is if Julio Jones, knock on wood, has another season like last season where has lingering issues as far as injuries and things of that nature, if we do draft a guy like Kyle Pitts, really he's a wide receiver. So you will have a guy who can play outside the numbers, kind of like a Julio Jones on the opposite side of a Calvin Ridley, who can be a number 1 option or a number 2 option to a Calvin Ridley. So I really think that if you do draft a guy like Kyle Pitts, Julio Jones' days in Atlanta could be numbered. I do believe that Julio Jones will finish out his contract, which I believe he has at least 2 years left on his contract, because his contract was basically a lot of guaranteed money. I don't see the Falcons cutting a Julio Jones, but if he has another season like last year where he's having lingering issues as far as injuries, and we have a guy like Kyle Pitts on the roster who comes in and balls out, Julio Jones could be one of those players that they try to trade next season or next offseason. So I don't believe that this will happen. I'm one of Julio Jones' biggest fans. I do believe that last year, this is just a caveat, I do think that last year Julio Jones could have came back and he didn't have to miss as many games as he missed last season, because I do believe the Falcons decided not to allow Julio Jones to come back, even though he was healthy at the end of the season, due to us being out of playoff contention, which was the right move by Rich McKay and Arthur Blank. I believe they made the decision not to bring Julio Jones back, because at that point, he would have been playing in games that didn't matter at that point. We were not going to make the playoffs at that point. So once we were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, I really think that Julio Jones could have played maybe the last 2, 3, 4 games of the season, but we were mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. So they didn't want him to get hurt coming into this season. They kind of wanted him just to rest, heal up, get ready for this upcoming season, since we basically had nothing to play for at the end of the season. So that is the caveat with a Julio Jones. I do think that maybe 3 to 4 games that he missed at the end of the season, he could have came back. they just decided to hold him out of those games due to the games not really mattering at that point. We were out of the playoff race, and bringing a guy like Julio Jones back in that instance wouldn't have been a smart move. You know, you're basically in a lose-lose situation. So that's the caveat with what I'm saying about Kyle Pitts possibly being a player that could replace Julio Jones. I'm not saying that Kyle Pitts is better than a Julio Jones, because we've seen guys ball out in college on the college level and then come into the league and, you know, be bust. So I'm not saying that or guaranteeing that Kyle Pitts is going to come in and be Julio Jones or come in and be a guy like Calvin Johnson or DK Metcalf. That's just my personal opinion. I do believe that he has the God-given talent and the God-given ability with his size, his athleticism, his explosiveness. And if you just go and look at Kyle Pitts' college tape, he did have 12 touchdowns last year for the Florida Gators. He didn't drop a single pass, which is really impressive. And I believe he had like 77 receptions, if I remember correctly. So Kyle Pitts is one of those guys that if he's there at 4, if I'm the Falcons, I would take Kyle Pitts over a quarterback. That's just me personally. I don't feel like drafting the quarterback helps you at all, especially in this season. If you're going to have Matt Ryan on the roster as a starter, having a quarterback, drafting a quarterback at 4, when you know Matt Ryan's going to be here for the next possible 2 years, you know, we could always draft a quarterback down the road. But if you bring in a guy like Kyle Pitts, all he would do is enhance and help a guy like Matt Ryan. And I feel like at this point, we need to go all in on giving Matt Ryan as many weapons as possible, giving Matt Ryan and Julio Jones the best chance to get a Super Bowl before those guys retire or before those guys are in decline. I do think that Julio Jones is still a guy in his prime, and I do think that Matt Ryan still has a lot left in the tank. But bringing in a Kyle Pitts would just, to me, you know, set the world on fire as far as this offense. Like, I believe if we get Kyle Pitts, we're arguably going to be the best offense, possibly the number 1 offense in the league. Now, I have been one of those guys who believes, or one of those content creators that believe the Falcons should trade back. But after seeing the measurables for a guy like Kyle Pitts, they said he has the longest wingspan of any player in the last 20 years. So he has very long arms. Like I said, he doesn't drop passes, and he's a physical specimen. You put him on the outside, he pretty much can do everything that a Calvin Ridley and a Julio Jones can do. I do think that Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones runs routes better than Kyle Pitts at this stage of his career because he hasn't been in the pros yet. But he could develop, if he works with those guys like Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones at practice, he could possibly become, you know, one of those number 1 wide receiver threats for our Atlanta Falcons. Because personally, I think that Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver. He just playing the tight end position. So him and Hayden Hurst would be a matchup nightmare for opposing defenses. And I think that if the Falcons, if he's there at 4 and the Falcons don't want to trade back, he's the guy that I'm going with. Even over a guy like Micah Parsons, even over a guy like Penei Sewell, because of the actual scheme that Arthur Smith runs, I really think that we could bring in a guy that could play that left guard position on the offensive line. I don't think we need another number 1 offensive lineman. I'm not opposed to bringing in a guy like Penei Sewell. If we decide to go Penei Sewell with that 4th pick, I would be happy with it because I'm a big on the trenches. I always talk about offensive line, defensive line, but I really think that this guy Kyle Pitts is a generational type talent. I do think that he would be a matchup nightmare, and I really think in the red zone, he could really be a bonus for our Atlanta Falcons. If you have a Julio Jones on one side on the outside and a Kyle Pitts on one side on the other side, I mean, who do you cover? Who do you double team? And then you have Hayden Hurst in the middle of the field as well, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage. Like, no team would be able to match up with us. Even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending champs, as good as they are, they wouldn't be able to match up with us because you have to go one-on-one with Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, and Kyle Pitts. And all of those guys are matchup nightmares in one-on-one situations and even in zone situations. So I think Kyle Pitts, if you do decide to draft him, not only will he enhance our offense, but I also think that he could be an insurance policy for a guy like Julio Jones, where if Julio Jones, for whatever reason, has another injury-plagued season, or he has, knock on wood, an injury that holds him out for whatever reason, if you can plug a guy like Kyle Pitts, who like basically can play wide receiver, like we would have one of the best offenses in the league. We already have a top 5 offense as it is. If you add a guy like Kyle Pitts to the mix, man, we will be like unstoppable. We'll be like the greatest show on turf, or we'll be, better than our 2016 offense with all of those weapons. But you guys, let me know what you think of the video. Let me know what you think about a guy like Kyle Pitts. I'm really blown away. I know that pro days, everybody looks good in their pro day. So I'm not, just saying this because he had a great pro day. I've been pretty much saying this since I've seen this kid's tape. I think Kyle Pitts is possibly the best player in this draft. Definitely top 5 draft prospect. So he's definitely worthy of that 4th pick. And the way that the game is wide open now, it's a passing league where you can't, touch anybody as a cornerback. You can't tug on anybody as a linebacker or a safety. You can't get physical, and you have to cover this monster going down the field. 6'6", 245. I don't see how anybody covers this guy one-on-one in the open field. So I definitely think that the Falcons should definitely pull the trump card, as they call it, or pull, he could be the guy that puts the Falcons over the edge when it comes to us being a dominant, one of the most dominant offenses in the game, especially under a guy like Arthur Smith, who relies heavily on the run game and heavily on play action. If you can run double tight end sets with him and Hayden Hurst, 2 of the best, most athletic tight ends in the game, I really think this could be Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski 2.0. I really think that these guys would be matchup nightmares. So you guys let me know what you think about the video. I definitely love this kid, Kyle Pitts. I definitely think that the Falcons possibly will go with Kyle Pitts at 4 if they decide to stay there. You let me know what you think of the video. Let me know if you think the Falcons should trade back or whether they should take a guy like Kyle Pitts. Personally, I believe you trade back. But if you're unable to trade back, my number 1 prospect right now on my draft board for the Falcons is Kyle Pitts. But with that being said, this has been your boy Jew. Let me know what you think about the video. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys continuing to tune into the channel. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please hit that subscribe button if you enjoy my content. Also, go over to Atlanta Falcons Nation, which is my affiliates. I'm a part of Atlanta Falcons Nation as well. Please go over to Atlanta Falcons Nation, hit that subscribe button. They're on the quest to 1,000 subscribers as well. We're about 20 subscribers away from 1,000 last time I seen it, which was this morning. So please go over to Atlanta Falcons Nation, hit that subscribe button as well. But with that being said, this be your boy Jew. I'll holler at you guys in the next video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. Peace.